In the heart of the American West, there are places where the land still holds its breath. And across those silent expanses, a memory gallops, a legacy of freedom etched in muscle and mane. This is the Mustang. The sight of a wild band, led by a vigilant stallion, stirs something deep within the American psyche. They are the ultimate symbol of the untamed frontier, a ghost of the past running with the present. But the Mustang is not native to this continent. Its story is one of a spectacular re-evolution, a journey of loss, adaptation, and miraculous survival. For centuries, they were the indispensable partner of the cowboy, the warrior, and the settler. Then they were hunted, rounded up, and nearly annihilated. To understand the Mustang, we must first go back 10,000 years. The horse, the genus Equus, actually originated right here in North America. But for reasons still debated by science, the horse died out on the continent at the end of the last ice age. The horse vanished from its birthplace until 1493. The creature that would become the Mustang was brought back to the Americas by the Spanish conquistadors. These were horses of exceptional quality. The Andalusian and the Barb, Arabian-type horses known for their stamina, intelligence, and agility. They were vital military assets for figures like Hernán Cortés and Francisco Vázquez de Coronado. The Spanish called them Musteños or Mustingos, terms referring to stray or ownerless cattle. As the Spanish expeditions pushed further north into what is now the American Southwest, horses were inevitably lost, stolen, or abandoned. Some slipped away during battle, others strayed from remudas, herds, left at missions and encampments. These runaways were the seeds of the wild herds, finding a vast, empty ecological niche, a land rich with grass and free of large predators accustomed to equines. They didn't just survive, they flourished. In a matter of decades, the descendants of those few Spanish horses formed immense herds, adapting quickly to the harsh new environment. The horse had come home, and the continent would never be the same. The greatest transformation triggered by the Mustang was in the culture of the Native American nations. The arrival of the horse was arguably the single most important event in the history of the Plains tribes. Tribes like the Comanche, the Lakota, and the Nez Perce rapidly mastered horsemanship. They quickly learned to breed and care for the horses, transforming their nomadic way of life. The horse was now central to hunting, particularly the immense buffalo herds, to trade, and crucially, to warfare. A tribesman's wealth was measured in his horses. The horses they developed, often smaller than the Spanish imports, but incredibly hardy and fast, were superb combat animals. The Nez Perce, through selective breeding, developed the ancestor of the modern Appaloosa, a horse prized for its endurance and unique spotted coat. The Mustang was the literal and spiritual embodiment of the Plains tribe's freedom. It allowed them to move vast distances, outrun their enemies, and thrive on the bountiful Great Plains. The horse became intertwined with spirituality, art, and identity. The Spanish tried to restrict horse access, but through raids, trading, and capture, the horses continued to spread like wildfire across the West. By the early 1800s, it's estimated that millions of these Mustango horses roamed the continent, stretching from Texas up into Canada. The 19th century brought the inevitable clash of cultures. As American settlers pushed westward, they encountered the vast herds of wild horses and, recognizing their value, began to capture and utilize them. This era gave us the figure of the cowboy. The Mustang became the foundation of the American ranching industry. They were indispensable in the massive cattle drives, herding millions of longhorns across the open range. The Mustang was valued for its natural cow sense, its durability, and its ability to cover rugged terrain on minimal feed. The term Mustang evolved to become a generic name for any free-roaming, unbranded horse, encompassing a wide variety of mixed Spanish, North African, and eventually domestic bloodlines. They were tough, intelligent, and known for their fighting spirit. A horse had to be broken before it could be ridden, a dangerous and essential rite of passage for every cowboy. Yet, as the cattle and sheep industries expanded, the Mustang's survival was threatened by the very people who relied on them. The open range began to shrink. Ranchers increasingly viewed the wild horses as competitors for grass and water, calling them vermin that degraded the land needed for livestock. A long, devastating war against the Mustang was about to begin. The turn of the 20th century marked a dark chapter. The wild horse population plummeted from millions to a few 100,000. The demand for horse meat, hides, and especially horse parts for the pet food industry created a massive, lucrative market for the capture and slaughter of Mustangs. Methods were brutal. The advent of the motor vehicle allowed relentless, mechanized roundups. Airplanes were even used to drive exhausted herds over cliffs or into hidden traps. These men were known as Mustangers or wranglers, and their work was ruthless. By the 1930s, the Mustang was disappearing from its historic range at an alarming rate. The very symbol of Western freedom was being systematically erased. The tide began to turn in the 1950s thanks to a woman with an unflinching camera and a relentless spirit, Velma B. Johnston, better known as Wild Horse Annie. Annie was instrumental in exposing the barbarity of the roundups. Her passionate campaign rallied public support across the entire country, especially school children, whose letter-writing efforts put immense pressure on lawmakers. This public outcry led directly to the passage of the Wild Horse Annie Act of 1959, which prohibited the use of motorized vehicles to hunt wild horses and burros on public lands. It was a crucial first step, but not the final solution. The landmark moment came in 1971, with the passage of the Wild Free-Roaming Horses and Burros Act. This act declared that wild horses and burros are living symbols of the historic and pioneering spirit of the West, and mandated that they be protected and managed by the Bureau of Land Management, BLM, and the U.S. Forest Service. This act saved the Mustang from extinction. Today, the horses running free are officially called wild horses, and they occupy designated herd management areas, HMAs, across 10 Western states. But protection brought a new set of challenges and massive controversy. The fundamental issue is simple: population versus resource. The BLM uses a metric called Appropriate Management Level, AML, determining how many wild horses the range can support alongside livestock and native wildlife. Mustangs have few natural predators and reproduce quickly. When populations exceed AML, the BLM conducts roundups, using helicopters to gather the horses. These roundups are highly contentious. Proponents argue they are necessary to prevent overgrazing, ensure the health of the horses and the land, and prevent starvation. Critics argue that the AML numbers are too low, favoring cattle grazing, and that the stress of the roundups causes inhumane treatment and injury. Today, there are more Mustangs in government holding facilities, tens of thousands, than there are running wild. The cost of caring for these animals in long-term holding facilities has become a massive, complex budgetary problem with no easy solution. Various management options are constantly debated. The use of fertility control vaccines, PZP, to slow reproduction, adoption programs, and, sadly, the constant threat of lethal removal. The Mustang's survival is secured, but its freedom is negotiated day by day on the tightrope between conservation, cost, and politics. The Mustang is a testament to the power of resilience. They were born of Spanish ambition, flourished through Native American genius, served the American settler, and survived a deliberate campaign of eradication. Today, when you see a Mustang running free, you are looking at a living piece of history. You are witnessing the re-evolution of a species, a victory of adaptation, and a symbol of the enduring, untamable spirit of the American West. The debate over their management is complex, but one thing remains clear: the Mustang's place in the soul of America is secure. They are not just horses, they are a monument to freedom, running wild on the continent where they first began. Thank you for joining me on this unforgettable chapter of the Mustang.